Two delicious bowls of noodles, one creamy and nutty, the other fresh and vibrant. I can smell the flavor coming out now. It's just incredible. That's looking really nice now. Lovely and thick, smooth at the same time. Just twist those creamy noodles into place. I forgot how good this noodle dish is. I really need to cook it more often. You guys are going to love this. Bring your water to a boil. We're going to be cooking some ramen noodles. So these are made of wheat. But you're welcome to use any variety of noodles that you like, whether that's soba noodles made of buckwheat or you can use rice noodles. It's totally up to you. So we're just going to twirl them into the water as they soften and then bring that back to a simmer. Personally, I don't put salt in the water as there's already salt in these noodles, plus the sauce we're going to make is going to have a fair bit of salt in. And then just cook these as per the packet instructions. These ones take around 5 minutes. While your noodles are cooking, just give them a little twirl around just to ensure they're not getting stuck to each other. But as long as you've got a rapid boil going on, then you should be fine. And then once they're cooked, we're just going to strain them off. This sieve might be a little bit too small. Now, whatever you do, do not rinse these noodles in cold water, even though we are doing a cold noodle salad. Rinsing the noodles will dilute their flavor. It'll also rinse off a lot of the starch, which makes it sort of sticky and helps the sauce or dressing stick to the noodles. So instead of rinsing them, we're going to dump them onto a baking tray. We'll then add a drizzle of sesame oil. And then using the tongs, I'm just going to gently toss them in that sesame oil and then spread them across the tray. We'll leave them to cool and they'll keep their bounce, their flavor, and the sauce or dressing is going to stick to them perfectly. I want to do some nice crispy, light, and sort of slightly bouncy tofu to go with this salad. So I'm going to choose the firm tofu instead of the extra firm, as it can be slightly chewy and dense almost. Okay, let's choose our weapon of choice. I think that one might be a little bit too short. Maybe this one, a bit too long, I reckon. There we go. That looks perfect. If anyone's wondering where I get my knives from, I get them from Kin. This isn't sponsored, they just import really nice Japanese knives. If you've been following the channel for a while now, you'll know that I love to simmer my tofu in really salty water first. This seasons it from within. It also firms up the texture of it. I've added a tablespoon of salt. I'm also going to add a teaspoon or two of dark soy. And then once that salt is dissolved, I'll go in with my firm tofu and simmer it for 5 minutes. This is such a great way of getting flavor into the tofu rather than just on the outside. You can also just pour the boiling salted water over the tofu and leave it for around 15 minutes. That way you don't have to use any gas and you don't have to simmer it. This is just a slightly quicker method. Okay, that's done simmering. I'm just going to drain it off and I will keep some of that stock that we've cooked it in. It's gonna be quite salty, but you can definitely use it in soups and noodle dishes, in fact. And I'll just leave that to steam dry for 5 to 10 minutes. I don't have any toasted sesame seeds, but I do have some regular untoasted ones. So I'll just toast these in a dry pan for a few minutes until they're lovely and brown and nutty. Make sure you keep an eye on these. 1 minute they'll be pale and then suddenly they'll be burnt. So just keep on tossing them or stirring them with a utensil, either way. Okay, those are toasted enough for me. Lovely and golden. So I planned to do this video last week when it was glorious, hot and sunny, and now it's freezing cold and raining, but we're going to go ahead with it and hopefully the sun will return soon. Just on the morning walk with Poppy. This is the reality of having a dog, getting up and going on lovely rainy walks. But it's worth it because she absolutely loves them. And we'll just let them cool down for a little bit. We're going to do some lovely refreshing smashed cucumber in this noodle salad. Smashing the cucumber may sound like a bit of a gimmick, but essentially it's going to open up the flesh. It's going to create some nice jagged edges on the outside so that it absorbs the dressing really nicely. So just get yourself a rolling pin or the back of a knife, and we're just going to essentially just hit the cucumber. You can keep the seeds in or remove them, it's up to you. Just like so. That looks good. Compared to slices of cucumber, where the dressing just runs straight off. This really does make all the difference. So we'll just slice this up now that it's been smashed. And that's ready for our salad. So I've got 2 spring onions here. I'm going to keep the green part for a garnish. So all I'm going to do is just thinly slice them lengthways, as thin as you can go. To create these really nice thin strips. And then if you place these into ice cold water, in a few minutes they'll go lovely and twirly, and they're going to be really nice and crisp, which is going to be a perfect garnish for these noodles. And then the rest of the spring onions I'm just going to finely chop. For the dressing, I've got 2 teaspoons of miso here, and then I'm just adding 3 tablespoons of the water that we cooked the noodles in. It's now sort of warmish. This is to help us thin out the miso, as we don't want large clumps of it in the dressing. We're then going to zest in 1 garlic clove. Zesting it will break down a lot of its fibers, making it really strong and pungent, giving it a really nice kick. And then we've got the miso, which is fermented, so that's going to give us some nice health benefits there. Just make sure the water you use isn't too hot. Then I've got some ginger here. Easiest way to remove the peel is with a teaspoon. Just scrapes away nicely and you don't waste any of the actual flesh. If I was going to cook the ginger, then I wouldn't worry about removing the skin. Personally, just love the smell of ginger, so good. And then we'll just zest that in just like the garlic. Next, I've got some light soy sauce for even more umami goodness. I used white miso, which is a bit lighter than other varieties, so the soy sauce will add a little more richness. Then for acidity, I've got half a lime here. I'm also going to add some lemon juice. Not particularly traditional, but we're going to roll with it. I don't have any rice vinegar at the moment, so I think lemon and lime is going to be really nice and fresh and lovely for summer. You could use some apple cider vinegar if you wanted to in replacement of rice wine vinegar. Maybe just use slightly less, as it's a little stronger in flavor. Next, about a teaspoon of sesame oil for that lovely nutty toasted goodness. I like to add a touch of balsamic vinegar. This obviously isn't very traditional, but it's a good alternative to black vinegar, which you can't find in the supermarkets generally. That's a really nice fruity note to the dressing. I wasn't planning on adding this, but I think it's going to be quite nice. I'm just going to add a touch of chili jam for sweetness and of course a little spice. And there you go, that's our salad dressing. Just whisk it together and that is good to go. I like to leave it to sit for at least 5 minutes, just to let all the flavors come together and the sort of harshness of the garlic and the ginger to be diluted slightly. Just wanted to say that these noodle dishes, they are not authentic by any means, but that doesn't mean they're not going to be absolutely delicious. I think if you've said you're creating a specific dish like dan dan noodles or pad thai, then you should try to be as authentic as possible with the ingredients and also the method. However, I think sometimes people are way too quick to judge, telling people that they're not cooking something the traditional way, especially in plant-based cooking, when we often use alternative ingredients. These recipes, for example, I'm just freestyle cooking, as I like to call it. I've taken inspiration from more traditional recipes, and I'm just using what I've got in the store cupboard or what I could find at the supermarket. I haven't been able to go to an Asian supermarket or order anything online, so everything is from the supermarket, so you guys will definitely be able to make these dishes. At the end of the day, as long as the food looks good, tastes good, and I get to share it with all of you to enjoy, then I think that's a win. And whether or not it's authentic or not, I'm not too worried about. Here's a quick tip with your sesame seeds to make them really sing and bring out that toasted nutty flavor. Just add a few to a pestle and mortar and we'll just lightly crush them, and I promise you this is going to make all the difference. I can smell the flavor coming out now. It's just incredible. Whereas if you leave them uncrushed, you just sort of get them stuck in your teeth and you don't really taste them that much. Just like that is absolutely perfect. For the tofu, I want to keep it really simple. It's mostly dried off now. Just going to add a touch of oil. Give it a gentle toss in that oil, making sure not to break it apart. Then I'm going to add 2 seasoning blends. I've got a chicken seasoning here. It doesn't have any chicken in, of course, it's just the sort of flavors that go well with chicken, but they just happen to go well with tofu as well. I've then got this really lovely spice blend. It's called Togarashi, or Japanese 7 spice. It's got sesame seeds in there, it's got chili, ginger, lemon peel, it's got some seaweed in there. We've then got some Szechuan pepper, which has that almost sort of numbing, tingling effect, which is really nice. A little cayenne pepper and then some orange peel. So it's really aromatic, it's spicy, slightly nutty from the sesame seeds. Definitely try and find some of this for yourself. I got this off Amazon actually. This particular brand I've got here is quite spicy. So I'm just going to add maybe a teaspoon, teaspoon and a half. And then I'm going to grill this in my air fryer, but you're welcome to pan fry it or just roast it in the oven. So we'll just spread out those pieces. You're welcome to add some starch to this, like arrowroot or corn flour, to make it extra crispy, but personally I'm fine with it just like this. Okay, time to start bringing this together. We're going to add our noodles, which are lovely and bouncy, and they're not stuck together, which is perfect. We're going to add half of them. I can smell that really lovely toasted sesame oil now. Then we're going to go in with the cucumber. There's quite a lot of cucumber here, so I don't think I'll add it all. That looks about right. I also just quickly cooked off some edamame beans. In go the spring onions, coriander or cilantro. I can hear the comment already. I hate cilantro, it tastes like soap. Well then you can use some parsley or some chives. And then that delicious dressing. And then just toss everything through that delicious dressing, getting it all nicely coated. I like to use tongs for this job, but if you're a pro with the chopsticks, then you could use them. Gently does it so we don't break up the noodles at all. Get some of the dressing from the bottom of the bowl and just drizzle that over. Then some of that Togarashi tofu. Some of that lovely toasted sesame, almost like a dust to go on. Really lovely. And finally, some of those lovely spiralized almost spring onions. Not really sure what to call this dish, to be honest. I think we'll go for a spring smashed cucumber noodle salad with Togarashi baked tofu. Ooh, that tofu is spicy. That Togarashi seasoning is not messing around. Really good though. This is my go-to noodle dish in summer. It's really lovely and fresh. It's got bright, punchy flavors, and yeah, just really hits the spot. It's got loads of fresh flavors. The cucumber adds a really nice juiciness, and then that toasted sesame seed dust just brings it to life. And then optionally adding in the Togarashi tofu just makes it more of a complete meal. Okay, now that we've done the fresh and vibrant noodles, we're going to move on to the more sort of comforting and creamy sesame noodles. Start by adding your tahini into a large mixing bowl, or medium to large. I've got a mixture of light and dark soy sauce here. The dark soy sauce just adds a really nice sort of richness. Then some apple cider vinegar. Ideally, I would use some rice wine vinegar or lime juice, but I don't have any at the moment. Just a touch of chopped chili. I don't like it too spicy. A little ground coriander adds a nice citrusy note. And then once again, instead of black vinegar, I'm just going to use a touch of balsamic. If you can get the black vinegar, then definitely use it. A little maple syrup to balance out the bitterness of the tahini and then the saltiness of the soy sauce. And then just get yourself a whisk, and we're going to start whisking this into a nice sort of paste. Really get in there and give it a good whisking. We want it nice and smooth before we add in any additional water. Almost forgot, I'm also going to add a touch of sesame oil just to really bring out that sesame flavor with both the tahini and the oil. That's looking really nice now. Lovely and thick and smooth at the same time. We'll then gradually whisk in cold water. Just do about a tablespoon at a time. And we want to get this to a sort of single cream consistency so that it coats those noodles beautifully. Make sure you've got each tablespoon completely incorporated before you add in the next. We can add in water, we can't take away. If it does get too thin, you'll have to add in more tahini. So a little bit more. Let's do 1 more tablespoon. This is looking perfect. I've just gone slightly thinner than sort of single cream's consistency. You want it to really nicely coat the spoon, like so. And that means it will coat the noodles. But not too thick, as you don't want it to be really sort of rich, gloopy and sort of overwhelming. And as usual, make sure to give it a quick taste. I think that's perfect actually, honestly. You want a nice rounded flavor that's balancing the acidity, the nuttiness of the tahini, the salty and umami soy, and also the sweetness from that maple syrup. And then really easily, you can just add in your noodles to the sauce in the same bowl, and then just mix them through and get them coated in that creamy and nutty sauce. Beautiful. Smells incredible. Just make sure every strand of noodle is coated in that sauce. I want to give this dish a quick protein boost, so I've got some extra firm tofu here. It's smoked tofu as well, which I think is going to work really well with the nuttiness of the tahini. I'm just going to grate it on a coarse grater here. Get really nice sort of long threads of tofu. I'm not going to do anything fancy with this tofu, as it already tastes pretty great just on its own. So I'm going to add some dark soy sauce, olive oil, a grating of black pepper, and a little Chinese 5-spice. This stuff is pretty pungent, so don't use too much. And then with your hands or a spoon, just give that a good mix together. Get those seasonings distributed through the tofu. And then that's simply going to be air fried until lovely and crispy. And I think it's going to be the perfect topping for these noodles. Just twist those creamy noodles into place. A spoonful of your crispy 5-spice tofu. Generous sprinkling of that crushed sesame seed powder that we've got here. It's going to add so much flavor. And then just some simple, finely sliced spring onion to finish that off. And there you have my creamy sesame noodles with crispy 5-spice tofu. This is incredible. It's so good. I forgot how good this noodle dish is. I really need to cook it more often. You guys are going to love this. Honestly, next level. I really love this dish. It feels homely, creamy and comforting, but at the same time, it's got lots of different complex flavors in there, and it's just a real treat. That crispy 5-spice tofu has so much flavor in it, and it just contrasts really nicely with the creamy, nutty sesame noodles. Absolutely delicious. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry about the mess in the background, but if you've got time for another video, then definitely check out this one.